Greetings and salutations. My name is Eric Padraig, and I'm the project manager of Haphazard Projects. And I'm bringing a new Chronicles of the Orb Shadium Song story in, and we've got some new players. Unfortunately, Eric and Matthias could not make it, but I managed to recruit Brian, who is an awesome role player, and his son, who I've never gamed with before, but we're all going to have fun anyway. So, slipping into things, I'll go ahead and begin the story. I am the composer. I am the sage known as Sagarathis. This will be my telling of a story called Where They Went. We have one returning cast and two new players. Nestor.
I'm Nestor Zamat. I'll be playing Corwin, the Adalin spellcaster.
Go ahead, Brian.
I am Brian. I'll be playing Kyron, the... Ooh. I don't think that I have a class title.
You don't. There are no classes in the game. I'm sorry, I should have told you that.
Yeah, I'm looking for this on my thing. Yeah, I'm essentially playing sort of a major, sorry, a ranged thief type character.
No, so just main thief.
There we go.
Yep.
And then this is you. Oh, sorry, this is you. Your name and his name.
I'm Cameron, and I will be playing
William. And you're a main?
Main.
And then Rogue.
He's playing the warrior, the death dealer.
Oh, I heard him say William.
Are we looking at the wrong sheets?
I said William.
Yeah, wrong one. Let's see. I'm playing William. Okay, we're a little confused. I'm playing William, and let's reverse our tabs. There we go. I'll be playing William, the ranged thief, and he's going to be playing he'll be playing Kyron, the cat.
The Ulasi warrior.
That's you. You're on the right. I'm on the left. There we go. Sorry about the confusion.
It's all right. It happens. All right. To set things off, it is midwinter in the empire of Shanasthera, the Dragon Empire. And the adventurers are all holed up at the Adventurers Guild downtown, just a little bit away from the Silver Twins, the steam towers that operate the bridge for the River Talus, the main waterway that provides trading and travel for St. Valens, the city-state, and the surrounding areas. The snow's been coming down hard for at least 2 weeks. The streets are hard to maintain. Everybody has put on their best winter gear, and they have come to the Adventurers Guild looking for work, despite the harshness, despite the cold. Our 3 players are sitting around at various tables or the bar for the always free food and drink, which is always phenomenal in whatever kind of food you want. But they're sitting around enjoying their food and their drink, and a very small, light figure, almost like a human, standing up about 3 units tall. Her ears are long and pointed and sweep back, along with long blonde hair. And she looks to the Edael and says, "Oh, you're back. We haven't seen you in a little while. Is there Do you mind if I take you away from your food? Mind if we talk for just a little bit? This is
Perfectly fine.
This is the Lude known as Liasa. And she is known to be the coordinator for the Adventurers Guild, the one person responsible for passing out missions.
Mhm.
She leads Corwin back to her office on the first floor, tucked away from the common room. And she locks the door. 3 locks, and with a spell. She sits down at her desk and motions for the NAL to sit down as well.
Corwin proceeds, little on edge. He's never met the person in charge of his missions.
Yeah, he did.
You sure? Because we met a frog-like being last time.
Liasa was the one that gave you your weapons and stuff, remember?
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
It's
My
been
notes are a
2
bit wrong
weeks.
then.
It's been 2 weeks.
It's yeah.
So, anyway, come on. Corwin, are your friends still in town? Or your friend? I forget the Piani fell. We still don't know what the cause of death was.
Yeah. I'd say they're coming, but I am nice to all beings.
Well, your friend, the fawn, Tao, said that he died from stupidity. But other than that, we haven't really found anything. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at something like that.
It's perfectly fine.
I have a new job that I would like to put you in charge of, if you don't mind. Unfortunately, this is something that you're not allowed to speak of outside of this guild. The nature of the mission, that is. So whenever you get where you're going, you know, just kind of pretend you forgot to talk. Did you catch that last bit? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. She says, well, I got word from the High Baron today. His son has gone missing. And apparently 6 others in his class. Now, of course, you know, the Baron's son, Rykard, presents some difficulty for us since he's left and gone wherever. We're currently working on trade routines and routes with Gaydon's Reach, which is, you know, of course, the city-state that's not far up the coastline. All right, pause. All right, Brian, we're going to skip to you and Cameron. You're sitting within the Adventurers Guild, just as I described for Corwin. Food and drink is always free. They have dormitories here. They have a basement that is kind of a proving grounds for training with anything, from weapons to magical and Rushin abilities. So just think on that. I'm going to go back to Corwin, and he should be able to get you right back in. All right. So Corwin. Okay. Did you have anything you were going to say to what Liasa mentioned?
No, but just keep silent.
Okay. She continues. Do you think you could find some trustworthy people to help you with this? As I said, once you leave the city state, I can't have you guys talking about it. Somebody could always overhear.
Yeah. I might have two people in mind who could be of use.
Well, please ask them, and tell them that this is a state emergency. We're not just asking anybody, and we need the utmost character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing is they've never done work for the guild before.
But they are members.
Oh, they are members, yes. I do have...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will leave you to that unless you need to requisition some additional equipment.
I think at this point, could you unlock the door?
Well, did you need to requisition anything else?
No, not really. If you have an additional spell kit, that would be greatly useful.
We didn't give you a spell kit?
Just in case I somehow run out of materials.
Okay, real quick, a spell kit. What level do you have a spell kit?
Yeah, well, level 3.
Level 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that means it has 300 pages in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of... Wow. That's a...
Well, you're going to get some additional spells this game. I can tell you that right now.
Okay.
So, but you have to transfer them into your book. You can't keep somebody else's book.
Okay.
But anyway, if you need another spell kit, certainly we can get you one.
No, I think you'll be fine for now.
Okay. She snaps her fingers, and all the locks on the door click open. She says, "Well, I will leave this into your capable hands. Thank you. And let us know what happened to Rykard and where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can find anything on his classmates, that would be appreciated as well."
Mm-hmm. So strictly reconnaissance as part of the last mission?
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Corwin.
Always to be a pleasure to the guild.
Okay.
At this point, I think he starts leaving and tries to find these two individuals that might be of use to him, that he has in mind.
Okay, you walk back into the common room, and it's standing room only now. People have been walking in from the cold. The normal occupancy is about 120 people. There are probably 300 in there right now. Well, as I said, the weather is, bringing them in. Occasionally, someone that works at the guild will find somebody who's not a member of the guild in there, and they will get kicked out with jeers and laughter and thumping on the table, and they're thrown out back into the cold. Everyone is supposed to be able to take care of themselves in the Empire. The Empire has more than enough resources to make sure everyone has what they need. Those that don't know how to use those resources. But anyway, begin meandering around this filled to capacity common room, and on the far left side, not far from where the stage is usually set up, you see two individuals. They look like the ones you're looking for, but they look very young.
I think a lot of people compared to him look young.
So, are you walking up to them?
Yes.
That puts roleplay in your corner, dude. So,
one thing you will notice is Corwin is like already set to go. He's got his armor, sword, bag, everything. He's a bit of a wanderer.
So you walk over to these two people, and
we haven't done business in a while, so I'm just going to be out with it. May have some potential work. Corwin's getting straight to the point, not wanting to dance around the topic very much.
What sort of work have you got in mind?
Apparently a Baron's son and some of his classmates went missing.
The Baron's son.
The
As in the High Baron who governs your city-state that you live in.
That sounds like an important job. Yeah, count us in. We'll let's go see what we can find out.
This will be strictly recon. Rather not have another companion die on my hands.
Another companion, you say?
Just saying. Fiani are a bit Fiani are a bit arrogant.
You know what? Karen and I can take care of ourselves. We've been fighting together for a few months now. He watches my back and I watch his. I think the addition of a mage caster to the group will only be beneficial. Let's see if we can not let those mistakes of your past repeat. What sort of leads you got for this Baron the Sun is gone?
Yeah.
Did you not hear his question?
He's muted.
Okay. Apparently he had to go check on dinner. While he's away, do you guys have any questions for me?
Not so far. We'll kind of get straight into it. He and I have already agreed that, you know, we've known each other for quite some time. We make a good team as a fighting pair. He's sort of our melee DPS, and I'm our range character. So between the two of us, we sort of watch each other's backs, and hopefully we'll keep each other out of trouble.
Yeah. When you're speaking, like I said, this is a very narrative game. So describe what your character is doing, and when you say something, you know, do it like, you know, Kyron says, "Well, I think we should go this way," as he stands there with his tail flickering back and forth. You know,
So
Trying
narrate, not so much first person, more narrate from the second person. Or from the third person, I guess.
third person, yes.
Third person.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that to you.
Yeah, I'm kind of used to doing more first person, which is fine.
Yeah.
Actually, when I do play by post, I do a lot of third person. So
That's what we're looking for with this, because it's a shared story in the sense of a story.
gotcha.
You know,
Well, if we have apparently, I don't know where it is we're supposed to go in pursuit of the Baron's son, but if we have time, I was thinking I'd go. My character doesn't like crowds, and with 300 people in this big area, this big cafeteria type place, he'd probably want to head downstairs and spend some time on his archery.
well, as with any mystery, there's always one place to start at least.
Scene of the crime.
In this case, that would be speaking to the Baron.
Okay. So we will wait on Nestor. I'm not sure where he went to, but
He's obviously having technical difficulties.
yeah, he's completely logged off, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah. And as far as setting, I did forget to mention this. This is kind of like European Dark Ages, Gothic architecture, the whole deal.
Did you say steam towers for the bridge?
Yes, there is steam technology.
As if it lifts the bridges with a steam powered. Okay.
Yeah.
I caught on to that right away. I was like, okay, cool.
And when I talk about new races, I'll try and show their picture if I have concept art for them.
Cool.
Where did that ping come from?
That came from me. My wife sent me a text.
Okay. I just want to make sure I don't miss any messages or anything. If it doesn't have anything to do with the game, I'm going to ignore it.
Nope. I'll let you know if it does.
Obviously, real life comes in first. So, if you get a phone call you have to take it.
Yeah, I'm expecting one around in about an hour.
Okay.
Do you want to pause recording until we get Nestor back, or?
No, we're broadcasting live.
Oh, I see.
So if I hit stop broadcast, I have to start a brand new one.
Uh-huh.
But
What else can you tell us about the world since we've got some time?
Not about the world, but I'll tell you about the Empire.
Okay.
That's where the adventure is taking place. All these adventures I'm running until the Kickstarter starts all take place within the Empire. The Empire's name is Shanastera, which means Land of the Dragon. Now, dragons in this game are extinct. They're all dead. However, over the course of the millennia that they did exist, they created races, and those races are still on the planet. But Shanastera is an empire with 13 city-states, not including the capital. The empire is mostly populated by a race known as the Dreven, and they are essentially humanoid wolves. They're very noble in bearing, thought, and speech, but they can be angered. It's mostly when they go without food for a period of time. and their metabolisms start to shut down is when they get exceptionally angry.
They get hangry.
But the empire provides absolutely everything for its citizens. Everything from food, other household needs. They provide education for children free. All of the universities and colleges are very fairly priced. The prices they set are simply to maintain what they need in order to do what they need to do. Businesses and things like that exist because people want to do such things. Otherwise, the empire would just supply everything. But mercantilism exists for better than standard things. Like if you go to a blacksmith and you're a member of the Adventurers Guild to get a sword, you're going to get a better sword than you would be given at the Adventurers Guild itself.
Okay.
Substandard places do not last long. Now, the city-state you're in is basically surrounds a huge open bay of a river known as the River Talus. It feeds into the northern oceans, or the higher oceans, I should say. And they have the steam bridges, as I said, to get from one side to the other. The entirety of the city-state covers roughly 200 square miles, or what's called Vos Unis. Unis is a term of measurement. 1 unis is 10 inches. So just under 1 foot.
Okay.
Weight is expressed in what is called hex. So a character may weigh 134 hex. A hex is just a little bit under a kilogram. I think. I can't remember the exact conversions for weight for some reasons.
Are steam used in other areas besides towers and bridges?
Oh yeah, steam technology exists. The Kazaldi, which is the proper name for dwarves, the Kazaldi actually have submarines, steam-powered submarines.
Ooh.
Also, once upon a time during the War of Wars, where the Empire was fighting against the dragons, they created these huge robotic things called the Colossus. And the Colossus were essentially steam-powered robots programmed by magic.
So steam-powered robots, are there steam-powered like ships and trains?
Not really. There are some highways that have vehicles. Most of them have alchemical engines instead of steam power. Occasionally you'll find a steam power one though. But the highways aren't as well managed because everything has to come from a city-state. So the city-state may be about 200 square units, but their roads will only extend to the outlying villages because that's what it basically is. It's basically the interior is the city-state, and then there are small towns that are getting ready to be accepted into the city-state, and then there are villages that just attract people, anybody who wants to become a member of the empire. And it kind of builds up that way. So the city-state walls are constantly expanding and growing. And there are a lot of people in this world. The capital city of Logathon is home to about 12 million people. That's just the capital. I think St. Balins, which is the city-state that you're in right now, has about an 8 million, somewhere at about 8 million people.
So it sounds like The nation supplies everything. Members of the tribes, the nation actually supplies everything all the people need. Where's the infrastructure for that coming from? Are there a bunch of slave laborers somewhere, or what's going on?
Some places do use slaves. It's up to the governor on how they want to run their city-state. They may wake up and go, you know what? We need slave labor. All of a sudden, they're starting slave labor. Or they might wake up and say, no, release all the slaves. I'm tired of this. St. Balins does use slaves, but they're usually war criminals or heretics and things like that.
Political, do they use slavery as a means of punishment for like political opponents and things?
No. No. All political views are accepted.
Okay.
There are basically 4 political parties, and if you don't fit into one of those, they just ask you to pretty much keep your mouth shut.
Okay.
Now, starting a new political party would take a lot of effort. A lot of effort. But I'll keep feeding you information on the city-state and the area around it as we go.
Okay.
Okay. So, yes. Is everything going okay, Nestor?
Yeah. We just forgot how quickly a Instant Pot makes jambalaya.
Okay. So, Corwin has begun to talk to these 2 new adventurers that he believes could help him with the. Corwin?
I think he's got somebody there.
Yeah. Basically, he's feeding as much information as he can.
Well, you remember, you weren't given that much information.
It was just the Baron's son kid went missing. That was about it, right?
Well, the fact that 6 other students in his class went missing as well.
Oh, I guess we start with where he went to school.
Well, it's very common knowledge that the noble families have their own colleges and students.
I gotta take care of something. I'm sorry about that.
I say it again. I would not want to have six freaking roommates.
I hear you there. I once had 5, but that was a temporary situation. Worked out really good, though. If anything, role-playing helps with learning group dynamics.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, okay, St. Balins is on both sides of this river called the River Talus. Talus is a Edaelan word that means silver. Now, the Edael is just the proper name for the elves. But don't call them elves, because the word elf is a Dreven word, and it's very, very racist.
I was going to say, they take it as a slur, huh?
Yeah, a very bad one. Now, up to the past 200 or 300 years ago, all elves were slaves.
Oh.
Well, it was because 200,000 years ago, during the War of Wars, where the Empire was fighting the dragons, the elves, or the Edael, as they're properly known, sided with the dragons. And, so there was a lot of death and a lot of destruction, and most of it was at Edaelan hands. So they were enslaved almost to the individual for war crimes because they still claimed citizenship to the empire. Let me see here. Like I said, there are 13 other city-states. Every one of them has their one thing that they're good at. Gaden's Reach is a purported pirate cove, but they are able to produce. They're able to find some very rare lumbers, and they supply most of the empire with fishery.
What is the name of the city state that we are in?
St. Balins.
And what is it that our city state is good at?
Pretty much everything, actually. St. Balins is the second largest city state in the empire, and the noble families that began building St. Balins were very idealistic. And because of that, and the giving of those responsibilities was also idealistic, you know, trying to... What's that? What was that, Brian?
Sorry, coastal just along a river that's next.
I can barely make out what you're saying. You're kind of roboting.
Figure out. Let me reset. I'll be right back. Can you hear me?
Now I can. I want to apologize for the technical difficulties and everything. These things can't be helped.
Hello.
Now I can hear you.
Better. So are we a coastal city, or are we just along a navigable trade river, like a trade route along a river?
You're the northern. It's not really called the northern, but the highest point of the river opens up into a bay. So you're both coastal and riverbound.
Mouth of a river. The other cities, they're each good at one thing. What sorts of things are these other cities good at?
Well, for instance, the city-state of, let me think of a good example. Illusdur is one of the biggest mining establishments in the empire. Aglarond is the ancestral home of the Edael within the empire. They are marvelous game hunters, and a lot of spellcasting knowledge comes out of the area as well. Narsal, which is mostly controlled by the Khazaldi clans. Shipbuilding is their main thing. The Khazalds build very good ships, including the steamships, the submarines.
Right.
And there's also underwater mining, which they excel at. There's a city-state that's actually independent of the empire called Foster's Point. And it's pretty much its own governmental thing, but it still supports the empire. The thing that they are known for... What was that?
They support how? With tax funds?
Basically. They pay taxes even though they don't have to.
Okay.
But it's also known for this one NPC. His name is Mirren. And he is essentially a Black Panther humanoid. And he has what he calls Mirren's dens. And the dens are module dungeons that he hosts extreme parties for once a year. And everybody can come in and compete. And a lot of grand prizes are given away. And, you know, it's some big deal. It actually is. But any given resource that the Empire needs comes specifically from one of the city-states or the surrounding area. They have no dealings really with the other nations that are not on the continent. And there are 8 other continents.
Okay.
The world of Shadium is about 2.2 times larger than Earth.
All right. So are they like feudal Japan was, where they just sort of kept everybody out?
No, they allow visitors. You know, I mean, it's just they prefer not to deal with the individual nations that are out there.
So you won't find like embassies or anything like that.
No, there is an embassy. There is, but as far as like imperial trade routes from the empire to another nation, that does not exist. Does not exist at all. But other nations may come to the empire and say, "Hey, we need something. Can you help us with this?" And they work together in much smaller terms.
So we, for the most part, then we don't really export much, is what you're telling me.
The city-states import and export their things to and from other city-states.
Right. But we're all pretty much sort of doing our own thing, just excluding, for the most part, everyone else.
Yeah. The basic thing in the empire is as long as you're not hurting anybody, you can do whatever you want to. But the act of murder, not self-defense, not fighting monsters, but out and out murder is the quickest way to become an enemy of the state. Because during the War of Wars, the last elf that was standing cursed the entire empire and said, if you continue to murder, your own sins will devour you. So basically, if you commit murder, that murdered person will come back to life as an undead. A very specific type of undead. A type of undead that no one's figured out how to destroy.
Okay.
That Edaelin that cast that curse is known as Shigat the Grey. The Grey is her title because she was outcast from the Empire. But she was a noble beforehand. She is the world's only necromancer. Anyone else who boasts about being a necromancer dies very quickly.
I think I need you to reset. You're across robotic.
I don't know if I can reset.
Because we're doing a live broadcast?
Yeah.
I just missed everything you said since the gray. In fact, right now I'm starting to hear my own voice echo back to me.
All right, well, try and reset on your end.
All right, be right back.
Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. How about now?
It's improved. Well, no, I'm still getting a lot of echo back in my voice.
I don't know why you are. What about now?
Testing.
Please, sorry about that.
Testing.
I repositioned my microphone.
That's a
That's what? Okay. Apparently we're having massive technical difficulties. I'm going to have to restart. So the video for tonight's game will be broken up into 2 segments. We'll just have to hope that when I restart, everything starts better. So bear with us momentarily as we try and fix the problem. Thank you.